What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. Oh, oui, Motor City Kitties, back up in your city. You already know when you see me front your TV, one thing's for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. Number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. You may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. Let me tell you. I'm going to talk to you right quick. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And once you've done those three things, in any order, it doesn't matter which order you've done them in. Once you've done them, you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since we're talking about sharing, and sharing is caring, once you've shared this with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, cousins, you name it. You name it. You have indeed cared about these people. What up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, Zach J? What up, though, all the people who are lurking and twerking and smirking and working? And if you're doing anything else, I don't know, get kind of freaky and it gets kind of illegal. So I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. We got Zach J. He says, Decker pisses me off, about to be out for half the season again and eat up $21 million in cap in the process. All right, we're going to talk about it. You already know what it is. Taylor Decker is returning, and I'm excited. Not because of the level of player that he was, not because of the injuries that he sustained and he fought through. I'm excited because there are no excuses. What up, the Tactical Sport? There are no excuses. Taylor Decker announced today on his Instagram that he will be returning to the Detroit Lions, probably for his final season. Okay, but what I mean by there being no excuses is there ain't gonna be no breadcrumbs, right? Remember last year? Oh, there were breadcrumbs. There were breadcrumbs about Frank Ragnall's retirement. There were breadcrumbs. I'm over here, detective. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. Ain't nobody gonna get that one. I promise you, ain't nobody gonna get that one. But there were breadcrumbs about Frank Ragnall's retirement. No breadcrumbs today. Taylor Decker will return. Taylor Decker will be back. Now you can move on with your free agency plan. And according to Jeff Risdon, Cade Mays is in that free agency plan. That is the center. You already know we talked about him some days ago. But the Detroit Lions have expressed interest in him. So I think he was, $12 million a year? Tyler Linderbaum has been offered much money, buku bucks, by the Baltimore Ravens. So he probably will accept that contract. But you got now your left tackle for now, not of the future, for the now. And again, probably just for this year, and he'll probably miss some games due to injury and things of that nature, and that's cool. You've got, if Cade Mays wanted to come here, you've got your center, you've got your right guard and Tate Ratledge. Now all you need is a left guard, because I don't know Christian Mahogany, but again, Christian Mahogany may look better. Cade Mays is no Frank Ragnall, but so much better than Graham Glasgow. So he may look better playing next to Cade Mays. Who knows? But I would feel so much more comfortable if you drafted a guard or if you signed a guard in free agency. You know, a cheap veteran like a Kevin Zeitler, right? $9 million a year for a year. You know, we can kick the can down the road fixing that. We can fix it next year, right? We get a draft pick with a guard, and then Bob is your uncle, as they say over here. But Speaking of saying over here, exciting news. The Los Angeles Rams will be in the season opener in Melbourne, Australia. It is definitely at the MCG. It is a place that it takes me about 30 minutes to get to, right? And I definitely will be trying to get there as soon as tickets go on sale. I'm gonna try to get some, and I'll let y'all know when I get my tickets. And I'll probably be doing some content from the game. And if I can't actually get inside of the game, you better believe I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna pull up, right? And I'm gonna be talking to people. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be interviewing, Australian fans and things of this nature, trying to get some subscribers. Telling people to make sure they subscribe to my channel and all these other things. And that'll be lit. So, yes, that's some more breaking news. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the opening here, because it's hot and heavy today. Tactical Sports says, even if Decker is returning, we still need to drive for the future. That is very true. And I feel a lot more comfortable with drafting for the future because you have someone like Proctor who may be there. You have the dude from Georgia. What's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? It's right there. It's what's his name? I just blanked on this dude's name. I like Monroe Freeling. There we go. Monroe Freeling, who didn't play a whole heck of a lot, doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of experience. But if you get a guy like that, who some people may feel like he may turn out to be better than Proctor, then you sit him behind Taylor Decker, and there's going to be spot duty where he's going to be playing because, Taylor Decker is nicked here or there. He's going to have to come out of this game. He might miss a week here or a week there, whatever the case may be. So you get him some on-the-job training for the speed of the NFL, but you don't have to rely on him to protect Jared Goff's blind spot. You don't have to then move Penei Sewell over to the left side and, things of this nature. So I think Taylor Decker coming back, while he does take up the $21 million in cap space, that was already there. Here's the thing. It was already being taken up, and we still, with 3 restructures, can get an extra $115 million in cap space. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell. It needs to get done. I don't really know why they haven't done the restructures yet. We got some sound from Brad Campbell, Brad and Dan, right? So we've got some sound from both of those guys, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Brad talked about restructuring and all these other things. So, we're going to talk about them combine interviews or the combine press conferences in a little bit here. But again, Decker was already he was already counting against the cap. It's not that you're not counting against the cap because you're thinking about retiring. No, it was it, right? He's on the team. He never got cut. So, who is the center from the Bills? That's McGovern, I believe. But Cade Mays is on the radar. And with that, it doesn't need to be a first-round pick for a left tackle. There's no reason not to either trade that pick for max or draft an edge. We're going to talk about that as well because I think Brad Holmes was on that BS once again. I'm over here, detective. I think I'm going to do Brad's voice like that until somebody figures out where it came from. And then when you figure out where it came from, you might want me to continue doing it. I'm over here, detective. I hear you. Told everyone that Decker would be back regardless of what his body was telling him, was hoping I was wrong. Here's the thing. Remember, I was telling somebody that he was gonna like. We needed to know what Decker was gonna do before free agency started. Like he needed to poop or get out the pot, and he pooped. You know what I mean? So I'm happy about that. We can go ahead with our plans. And again, Taylor Decker's money was on the books anyway. So the only way it was coming off the books is if he retired. You know? Also, Don, can you define aggressive? I can't define it, but I can spell it. I'm like Brad Holmes. I can't define it, but I can spell it. Well, at least I can spell it. I don't even know if he can. Yeah, Brad can fix it next year if he still has a job, LOL. He'll still have a job next year, but he may not get extended. So in 2027, his contract is the final year of his contract. In 2028, he may not be working for the Detroit Lions. We'll see what happens with that. Is that Rams Lions in Australia? No. Rams and I think 49ers, something like that. But it's an NFL game down the street from my house. I must go. You know what I mean? I must go. It's not even an option. And you know that if you're an Australian, I don't know how you know what your fanship is. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of people that are fans of whatever teams. It's Australia, bro. I mean, like you got two teams coming here, and there's going to be Chiefs fans there. There's going to be Bears fans, Vikings fans, Packers fans. I've met all of these people, actually. I've met Bears fans. I've met Packers fans and Vikings fans. Not too many Lions fans. I've met some people from Detroit. I can't say if they were Lions fans or not, but yeah, all of them are out here. Lions are playing in Germany. Yes, they are. Deutschland. Would you bring back Iffy? I definitely would bring back Iffy. I think he went over to Miami last year for what, $4 million or something per year, something cheap, something light. So I definitely would bring him back for sure. But I would like to draft Proctor in the first. That's the catch-22. You know, I'm over here, detective. Ignatius pissed me off today. Yeah, I know. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would trade our out of the first and get a couple seconds to fill the plethora of holes. Well, it also depends on what they've done in free agency, you know. But we'll talk about that as well when we get to this sound. Define aggressive. If Proctor is there at 17, I'm not trading back. Guys, this is what Ron wants to say. And we're just gonna say, should it be Indiana Bear Down? Should it be Gary Bear Down? Should it be Hoosier Bear Down? Like, what's the Hoosier Bear Down sounds good, right? Like, who's your bear down? Bearing down in the Hoosier state. Woo. He didn't sound aggressive today. He did not. All right, let's get to some sound from these peoples. Y'all want to start with Brad first or Dan? Which y'all want to start with? You let me know. Let me know. I can't put a poll in the chat because it's StreamYard. I really need to figure out if StreamYard has a poll and how to do it. Also, guys, themockmachine.com. You can now sign up. You can now sign in. So make sure you do that. Themockmachine.com. Let's see here. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know how to put a poll in there. Dan comes first in Danvin. So we've got two for Brad and one for Dan. So we're going to start with Brad. All right. So we don't need to talk about Taylor Decker's stuff because we already know what happened with Taylor Decker. And at the time of this press conference, they didn't know. So he just he did it after the press conferences. Free agency versus draft approach.
You know, it doesn't really affect, really, I would say, the draft for sure. We always kind of take the same approach with the draft. But, you know, the only thing from a free agency standpoint, you know, that might change certain things. But just we have to make sure that we're prepared. We have to make those decisions on if we do any kind of restructures or any kind of stuff. But those decisions will affect the next decision in terms of how much available finances you'll have to spend.
At some point in time, you're going to have to make it make sense for me. Free agency, what we do in free agency doesn't affect our approach in the draft. Am I tripping, or does that not make any sense? Right? Shameless plug, themockmachine.com, which you can now go and sign up for and sign into, has a general manager mode. And one of the key features in the general manager mode is that what happens in free agency literally directly affects the draft, because the needs of the teams may change after free agency. Why do I say they may change? Well, because they may not change. You may get people that you want to get, and that therefore you don't have to do anything with those people in the draft. So then you can shift your focus to BPA, right? Maybe you were trying to fill a need and you needed a tackle, but you got one in free agency. So now you go to the draft and you say, we're good. Let's BPA, right? Now I can take a corner because I needed a tackle, but I got one in free agency. So I don't need a tackle anymore. I can take a corner. I can take a running back. I can take this, whatever it is that I'm going to take, because I've done so in free agency. I've addressed that need. So the fact that Brad Holmes, Ignatius, as y'all call him, has just told you that free agency doesn't affect their draft strategy, it's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy to me. So does that mean that you go out in free agency and you sign a corner, and then you come to you come to pick number 17 and draft a corner as well? Well, because that doesn't change what we do in the draft. I don't understand. Somebody make it make sense. For once, I do have to give it to Ignatius for going first. Not restructuring. Next. Doesn't make sense. Right. I didn't think it did. What up, though, Jody? Where you been? We missed you. What does just restructuring golf get us? Just restructuring golf gets us 40-ish, 50 million. So we'll be at about 42 million if we just restructure golf only. What we do in free agency should absolutely determine what we do in the draft, especially with all of the holes we have. That further lets me know that he is going to resign Davenport. Bro, if he resigns Davenport, I'm telling you, we're gonna, nah. All right. What else does he have to say? What else? All right, we'll keep on that. Budgeting for retention versus free agency.
Yeah, I mean, it's case by case, because at the end of the day, the decision that we have to make, or that we're always or that we have been faced with, is that you don't have two separate budgets, right? It's only one budget. It's only one pot, right?
We
And
didn't know
so
that.
when you take the philosophy of draft, develop, and retain, right? Well, the more you this could take the word retain. Well, the word retain means pay. You got to pay money. All right. So if there's one budget, you don't have your own retained player budget and then a separate external free agent budget. Now you can splice it up within that one budget. This is how much you want to use to retain your own players. This is how much you want to use for external free agents. But the more you retain, that smaller that budget becomes. So, but there's still, but we'll have flexibility to do some things. So I don't think every single year is the same. It's not just last year we had that approach, but it could be entirely different this year.
Okay, so Ignatius believes that we're all stupid. Breaking news. We only have one budget, guys. Guys, we only have one budget. So all of you out there that thought before today that we actually had a free agency budget and a keep your own players budget, you were incorrect in your thinking. That was just groundbreaking news. I have to now go back and rethink and reshape how I look at the NFL and how I look at contracts and trying to understand what it means to retain a player versus what does it mean to sign a free agent. Because apparently we needed to know that there's only one budget. And you also can, okay, and this was another thing that I didn't know, guys, and this is on me. As a Lions creator, it's unacceptable for me not to know this, and I want to apologize to y'all. I'm coming hat in hand right now. Hat in hand, I got to apologize to y'all. I did not know you could split it up. I did not know you could divvy up the money that you pay to retain your own players and also sign free agents. That was earth-shattering to me. That is a tidbit that I did not know. And again, I have to apologize to everyone for my ignorance and my lack of knowledge pertaining to the NFL, free agency, contracts, player retention, and budgets. All of this stuff was profound that Ignatius just told us. And I'm sure that most of you in the chat didn't know either. I'll tell you one person who didn't know it all. It was Ron Renarski. He didn't know it all. But what is it? What are you trying to say? We have one budget. We can spend the money both on our players and free agents. But when you have to spend money on your players, it gives you less money to spend on free agents. Got it. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. So what's the plan then, Brad? What's the plan? Right? 2 free agency signings, just 2, can completely fix your offensive line. As we said, we talked about Cade Mays earlier. Taylor Decker's coming back. You signed Cade Mays. He's a center. And then you go ahead and get yourself a cheap veteran left guard, because I don't have any faith in Christian Mahogany after seeing what he looks like playing next to an all-pro in Frank Ragnow and seeing what he looks like playing next to not even a Pro Bowler in Graham Glasgow. He looked terrible playing next to Graham Glasgow. So if your left guard's play is solely contingent on playing with a all-pro, we need a new left guard. So you just 2 free agency signings, you will fix your entire offensive line. And then you can concentrate on the draft, right? You can concentrate on the draft, not really filling holes You know what I mean? Or, well, filling holes, but also drafting for players who are going to help now. See, this is what we need to do. We don't need to draft for the future. And every draft is a draft for the future, right? But we want people that can help right now. So, Davin Hurt on the roster means I'm blowing a gasket. Facts. Nail Painter didn't have 4,000 yards because no Bear has ever had 4,000 yards. What was he, like 90 yards short? It's crazy. He'll get it. All right. Well, we do hope they continue to get better, Jody, for sure. Wait, there's not two budgets for these things? No, I didn't know. And you're shocked as well. You're shocked as well. Indiana Bears for the Gary Bears. Who's your land, Bears? Who's your daddy, Bears? Who's your daddy? All right. What else is Ignatius talking about? Here's one that's it's pretty inflammatory, and I'm going to play this one. All right, here it is. Aggressive moves to improve. Y'all ready? This is Melvin's definition of aggressive.
Yeah, we're just going to do what's the best for our football team, which we always have. That's always a subjective lens, in terms of what we want to do, in terms of, maybe what some others may think. But we're just going to do the best thing possible. So there's nothing that we've restricted ourselves on in terms of, well, we're not going to do this because we want to do this. So we're being very open-minded. Look, when you go through what we went through last year, like I spoke of at the end of the season, you don't have a choice but to, have those long, hard looks and be very open-minded to make sure they should look at every possible avenue to improve the football team.
So was that just this year that they decided not to close themselves off to things? Because we've been closed off to a lot of things for a very long time, namely trades that are worth something. We've had Carlton Davis in as the only trade that was worth anything, right? And we're talking about player acquisition trades. We're not talking about draft capital acquisition. We are very closed off to signing free agents that are big names from other teams. What else? We are very closed off to getting players in here and allowing them to play to their strengths and not putting too much on their plate like we do with the vet squad. We're very closed off to that. We're closed off to a lot of things. So I'm trying to understand, when is it that they decided that they would be open-minded? When is that they decided that they would be open-minded in order to do what's best for the team? I don't understand. And I guess that's why he needs you to define aggressive. That's why he needs that, because I don't know, bro. I don't know. He defined something. they asked him about that, and he just I don't know. Okay, I don't know what it is. We have been closed off to an edge for the longest, very long time. Closed off. Until we restructure and clear cap room, we don't know what we have to offer. I do know what we have to offer. I know what we have to offer by restructuring. Okay, the restructuring that I'm proposing is people who are cornerstones of the team. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell. These are people that they will never want to move off of, so they will have no problems kicking their cap hits down the road. If you restructure the three of those people, you come out with about $114 million in cap space. Just those three people. Yeah, so we do know. I've always thought this. If Hutch went first, who is actually playing edge for us? You know what? I have said it's kind of something similar to that, but here it is. It may actually have been a negative that Hutch was drafted to us. And the reason that I'm not saying anything about Hutch as a player, I'm saying the mindset of the general manager. If you didn't get Hutch and you didn't get a guy that you thought you could do it all, maybe you get two guys that are above average. But I think what they did was they got Hutch and they rested on their laurels and they're like, oh, we'll funnel everybody to Hutch, which is, I don't know what defense you're playing. Funneling everybody to Hutch doesn't make sense to me. And you're fourth in sacks last year. Congratulations. You lost 8 games. You missed the playoffs. We talked yesterday about the games that you lost while missing the playoffs. We talked yesterday about how the defense in 13 out of 17 games gave up 21 or more points. So, yeah, the numbers are lying to us when they tell us, oh, we were fourth in sacks. So what? We were ass in defense. That's pretty much what we need to know. What up, though, Flying Hawaiian? Long time no see. Why does Holmes stutter so much? Sounds like he's trying to hide some truth. Yeah, he's trying to choose his words very carefully. He's not an aggressive talker. That's for sure. I honestly don't know who we would have drafted if Hutch went first. I think that the only reason he drafted Hutch is because it was such a no-brainer. Yeah. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? Just catching the gist of what you guys are talking about. I would think that Brad wouldn't be talking the same edge talk if they didn't have Hutch. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they would. And it may have forced him to be more aggressive, since that's the word of the day, than to rest on their laurels by saying Hutch can get to everybody. So we'll just funnel everybody to Hutch, and that's what that is. Hutch is the funnier, not the funneler, not the funnely. Well, it does look to be that way because Hutch is always dealing with double and triple teams because no one else is worthy of being that. We were also straight booty cheeks in third down conversions. The defense was gas in the second half. Even the year before last, when we were like, when we went 15-2, we were very highly ranked on third downs. I think we were top 3 because we were allowing 30% of third downs. But you still, for the eye test and the emotions, you always thought that they were going to give up the third down. Now, if you went to watch a defense that has been dominant, like not the Ravens of last year, but before that, the Ravens have always been good on defense. If you said that they were top 3 in third down conversions, and then you look at them and you watch them, you would think that they were going to stop every third down. So there was a perception there. And in the red area, as Tom Brady would say, we weren't great in the red area at all. So I don't know. I don't know who they would have gotten if Hutch wasn't here. I mean, I'm glad Hutch is here, but I'm just not glad at what they think of Hutch. And Hutch may be all world. Hutch may be elite. What up to Irv Gotti? But getting Hutch help would make things so much better. And that's just what they haven't done. All right. Let's see if. Oh, here's one. Impact of NIL on draft prospects. Let's listen to this one just quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is what it is. I mean, you are dealing with a different, let's call it, athlete coming into the NFL. And that's where I think Pat's just acquiring the players and having the coaches. That's really where those other departments on your staff really come into play with, player engagement and player wellness and all of that, just to make sure that, that they understand that it's different at this level, but the resources that they're getting at their level, you got to have, different conversations with those players, but you still have to set the same expectations. But I can't say otherwise that it definitely is different. It's something that we've never really experienced in the past, but, all you can do is just make the necessary adjustments and adapt.
Somebody should have asked him why he gave up 3 third-round picks for Isaac Tesla. But anyway, said, I think that the booty cheekness is directly correlated to the fact that we don't have a pass rush. Nobody is going to respect your defense if you allow that much time for the QB to pat the ball. But we were 4th in sacks. We were 4th. What do you mean, tactical? I'm over here, detective. Yeah, we definitely need to figure out how the NIL is affecting the players that we're drafting or we're trying to draft, and that's the problem. We don't really like these guys. That's why we gave up 3 third-round picks for Isaac Tesla. Detective, I'm over here, detective. I'm having fun. Y'all don't know where that came from at all. I'll give you a hint. One of them's from Detroit. This is classic. Okay, so there was a question. It says strength of the draft class. A question asking Holmes to identify the strongest position groups in the upcoming draft. And let's listen to this answer.
The only reason I'm going to refrain from answering that is this, because I felt like in the past I've been a little bit more liberal answering like the positions of strengths, strengths, weaknesses, all that. But I have felt in the past few years that I'll feel one way right now, and then a month later, I feel completely different. And I do think that's a natural feeling. I think that feeling should happen because I think that's a testament of all the work that entails of this whole draft prep process. It's not as easy as like, oh man, it's a lot of defensive ends, available for this draft right now in, late February, early March. Well, come early April, that might not be the case. And so those are some of the things that I kind of have spoken with you guys about in the past, of just information that's not available that might shift things. So that's the only reason why I know what it appears to be. It appears to be a deep crop, and I would agree with that. But it might not be as deep as we think in about a month or so.
I don't want to answer that question because right now I'm looking at the edge rushers, but I don't want to tell you guys that I'm looking at the edge rushers because when I don't draft an edge, and there's a great one available at number 17, I don't want people to think that I thought that we would get an edge, and now Ignatius hasn't gotten me an edge. I don't want you to know that. So I'm not going to answer the question. I'm over here, detective. Oh, my God. Even on the vet squad. All right. The personality trait that they're looking for is not a thing anymore with the NIL, and these boys are making millions now before entering the league. Yeah, I mean, it's the grit, I guess. And I guess it's harder to be gritty when you're already a millionaire. But if you watch the game, which Melvin said that we don't do, you can see the weakness of the team. They have been screaming at us forever. I'm just saying, we're fourth in sacks. What do you mean? I mean, the numbers don't lie. This is what people say all the time. And I tell people all the time that numbers are liars. Numbers are big liars. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Trade market activity.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that it would be more more active, just because you have some more regime changes. But I think you also got to look at the reality is that just because there's a regime change and a new coordinator, new head coach wants to start fresh, have their own guys, there might not be another guy to bring in to replace. So once you think of one way on the surface level, when you look at it deeper and look at the availability of, okay, does this staff have an ability to replace this player? Maybe the player was with the coach at another team. Well, just because the regime in place there doesn't mean that team wants to trade that player. So, but we've been looking at every avenue. But it's a good question, but I do think it's the reality of what the pool of available players are.
So this is an excuse as to why we won't trade for Max Crosby because they can't find anyone to replace him. And unless they have someone to replace him, they won't trade him. Even if they're asking for 2 first-round draft picks and they believe that they will get the 2 first-round draft picks, we just won't give them to them because we don't want to do that. Yeah. So this is a built-in excuse. So when we don't trade for Max Crosby and he lands somewhere else, we can just tell you that he didn't want to come here. He wasn't a fit. He wasn't a fit, detective. So basically he said he doesn't want anyone to think that he is drafting edge. Well, I don't want anyone to think I'm drafting an edge because when I don't draft an edge, people will be very angry. So of course I don't want to tell anyone that I'm thinking of drafting an edge. I'm over here, detective. So basically he continued to gaslight us. I'm glad I didn't listen to this live. Bro, I watched Brad and I don't feel excited. He's full of ish. This is true. This is very true. Let me see. What else do we have from Brad? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Glasgow, Onzarike, and Josh Pascal.
Yeah, I mean, Graham. I'll start with Graham. Obviously, he's still under contract. Again, there is a the start of the league year is a real date. So you want to have as much clarity as possible before then. So hopefully we get as much clarity as we can before then on Graham. And then with Levi and Josh, obviously. Levi, we'll be able to bring him back, and then Josh will have the ability to bring him back as well. There's still discussions to be about that one, but yeah, it's a possibility.
My man, Mr. Morale 313, he got it. I didn't think anybody was gonna get it. He got it. I'm over here, detective. I just shot you. No, you didn't. Oh. Dude. they're under contract. I get it. It's not. They could be also not under contract. If you're talking about Josh Pascal and saying, well, there's still discussions that we can have on that. Why can't we have discussions on Levi? Levi been on this team for damn 10 years and only played one complete season. Like, come on, bro. We just need to stop. As long as Max doesn't land on the Indianapolis Bears, I'll be fine. We got to call them the Gary Bears, bro. The Gary Bears. Shout out my man KG. The Gary Bears. All right? It creams in your mouth a little bit. It's got a nice ring to it. The Gary Bears. It's like the Berenstein Bears. Watch Crosby end up on the toilet seats. Is that the Bears? Or the Vikings? I don't know. Or the Packers? Ignatius is going to dump Josh for DDI. I don't understand. Like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, we're going to have a crash out event. Like, I'm just going to a whole show where I do nothing but crash out over Marcus Davenport returning. Bro, y'all better not ever sign that man again. Don't let him in the building for nothing. Oh, I need to get my things. No, we'll deliver them to you. Just give us your address. We'll send them FedEx overnight. What clarity do you need with Glasgow and Decker, though? Send them packing. So here's the one reason why I wouldn't send Decker packing. I wouldn't send Decker packing because it creates another hole, right? And he's going to be retiring next year anyway, so his full salary is going to be off the books. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't send Decker packing. Glasgow, for sure. Onzarike, for sure. Pascal, for sure. All of y'all can go. Decker allows us to get a Proctor or get a Freeling or someone of that nature, and they can sit behind them for a year or half the year. If Decker can't practice with the team, is that what you mean? I think there's enough continuity with him and everybody else on the offensive line. But when you get your new center in here, and as I said, you need to get a new left guard, yeah, that'll be a little bit of an issue. Glasgow can kick rocks. Again, the Decker thing is just about not creating another hole. And then also, even though they say it doesn't, they're not affected by what they do in free agency, which is a lie. I don't want to have to do two things. I don't want to have to either rely on a rookie to protect Jared Goff's blind side or have to move Penei Sewell to the left so that then you move the rookie to the right and it has to go that way. So I don't want to have to do those things. That's why I say you keep Decker for his last year. He retires next year. The salary is off the books. If you drafted a tackle in the first round, like a Proctor or a Freeling, then he's had the opportunity to sit behind Decker. and learn and understand how to be professional and have a mentor, right? These are things that he wouldn't necessarily have unless you're like, okay, well, he's going to be mentored by Panay while he's across from Panay. Cool. But, that's the only reason that I don't want to get rid of Decker. I don't think he's going to, if he's not injured, he'll be fine, right? If he's dealing with a bunch of injuries throughout the year, and I guess he's feeling good enough now after being away for 2 months that he feels like, he can give it one more go. Appreciate you, Mr. Detroit City. He said, yeah, Decker is about not creating another hole. Glasgow is a hole. Don, there won't be more people who crash out harder than me if DDI is back on this roster. You know what? What I'll do if DDI gets back on the roster, I will open up the phone lines. I literally found my headphones today. I was going to open up the phone lines, but we just have so much material. Just like I'm going to have to get to Dan tomorrow, right? I'm going to have to get to Dan tomorrow. But yeah, I'll open up the phone lines. Y'all can call in and crash out, bro. It'll be necessary. It'll be a whole crash out. And we will call the show the crash out. Marcus Davenport resigns with the Detroit Lions, the crash out. Right. And just, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We need Decker for now, for sure. Facts. I'm saying Davenport will be back, so I won't be disappointed when he is back. No. I'm not even gonna get myself ready because the crash out will be less authentic. Graham Glasgow is a value player for the price, can play multiple spots, can be a good backup. I mean, that's the only place that you'll have him is as a backup. Spot duty, backup, not being injured, he's serviceable. So yeah. I think Decker is low-key a hole too, in my opinion. I get why you say that. I just think that his value to the team is more so on the team right now. And then we have to look at the cap space, right? If you cut him, you save $12 million. If he retires, you save 18, right? They're not going to release him after he said he's coming back. He's been on the team 10 years. They're not going to do that, But I get the concern. DeMarcus Crash and Port Show. That has a good ring to it. Glasgow can't come back as the center for this team. If it's a backup role, sure, not the starting center. So earlier I said they have, per Jeff Risden, they have interest in Cade Mays. So hopefully Cade will sign over here and he'll be the second Cade in Detroit. What they doing with Muhammad? I don't know, but Aiden Hutchinson wants them to re-sign him. But if it's $8 million, I'm gonna pass on that. You had him in your building. He did what he did on your team. You saw 7 out of 10 games he had sacks. 10 games he had no sacks. So I wouldn't do that for $8 million. You need your arms to block and his shoulders are shot. Well, we're gonna hopefully his shoulders can last for half a season. If they can hold up for half the season, then the second half, then you can put the rookie in. And that's the best case scenario that we have right now. GG for IOL backup, but would he take a pay cut for that role? It depends on how significant the pay cut is. Brad said this time Davenport will work. LOL. Third time is a charm. Did he say that? I did not catch that part. Was that at the end? Or are you being facetious? Is Cade the center from Carolina? Yeah, I believe so. Let me see. Cade Mays. I think he's from Carolina. We talked about him earlier. Yes, Carolina. That's wishful thinking, but we'll see. That's what I'm saying. Just give me half a season. Give me half a season. All right, we're gonna do this right quick because I gotta go. I got a doctor's appointment in half an hour. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they're reading you? Mailbag. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. I'm over here, detective. Give me your mailbag questions. Also, while I'm waiting on your mailbag questions, themockmachine.com is available for sign up and sign in. If you're in the Discord, I did put a code in there so that you could join a GM draft room. Obviously, I won't be around to start the GM session, but just joining it, seeing different people from different places. I joined it with 2 of my accounts, and obviously I am right here. So that's easy. I want to see how it works with everybody else. So yeah, join it. Just picking up the dab. Okay, I got you. Mailbag, will you allow cussing in the Crash and Port show? I guess. I guess that it's not like my channel's going to get demonetized. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, it's raw emotion. You know, just don't threaten a man's life. That's all I ask. You know what I'm saying? Don't threaten him. Don't threaten his family. You know, because you know if you threaten his family, Kelly Stafford will be there talking about you booed her kids too. So, is there a right tackle or left tackle free agent option that you would like to see come in? We did some tackle options. I did think Jermaine Illuminor was kind of intriguing. And I felt that way because while he's older, I felt like he could do the same thing that what we're talking about with Decker now. You wouldn't, because if you sign him to 2 years, you wouldn't necessarily have to draft a tackle this year, but you would need to get one next year. Decker kind of you got to get one this year. It doesn't have to be in the first round though. In this case, since Decker is coming back, so let's say you sign Cade Mays, Decker is back. Now you've got your center, you've got your left tackle. Now you just need a left guard because you're straight from Penei Sewell to Tate Ratledge to Cade Mays to Taylor Decker. You need a left guard in there somewhere. As I said, I would sign a cheap veteran option. And then you've got room to draft an edge. I think you have a solid crop of edges that will be there at 17, and you can draft one of them and stop playing around. I mean, Hutch may want you to get to re-sign Muhammad. Okay, that's $8 million a year for a guy that's maximum 2-year extension, really, because he's 32. So you draft a rookie at 17. What is it? $8 to $10 million, and you have him for 5 years under your control because he's a first-round draft pick. I think that's a no-brainer. So. Did you try? When did you try? Because I just fixed it yesterday. I just fixed it yesterday. So it should be available. I'm still logged in. Let me go to mine. I will log out and log back in. I can't think of a left tackle free agent that could come in. Teams really don't let go of good left tackles. I really think that we have the future left tackle on the roster in Sewell. And I think that's what we would have to do. I think if Illuminor came in, okay, yeah, I fixed it yesterday, so you should be good. Have to draft for the future at right tackle. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do with Panay. We'll see. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to run across town. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. Make sure you go to themockmachine.com and sign up and sign in and do what you do. Would Frazier be a good candidate for right tackle while moving Sewell to the left? Miles Frazier? I don't know, bro. I don't know. We have to see what he really is because there was a lot of hype about him and he was really just injured all last season. So we got to figure out what we have in him first. Sewell really can't have that much money as a right tackle. I feel you. All right, y'all. I got to bounce. Peace. See y'all tomorrow.